Hey, how's it going? All right, this clip is an old clip. You guys remember where Corey is talking to the media about arresting George and comes back from April. So I just hadn't talked about this particular part, and I wanted to talk about it.
Talk about why your investigation led you to a second-degree murder charge, whereas the Sanford police investigation didn't even lead to an arrest.
Well, I don't believe that question is accurate in the sense that when you have a homicide, Florida's jury instructions even say that before you can reach a degree of homicide, you have to determine whether a person has committed an excusable homicide or a justifiable homicide. All murders are homicides, but not all homicides are murders. And Florida's law clearly says that if there is the affirmative defense of, for example, excusable homicide or justifiable homicide, that should be determined before you go to the degree of the crime. That's the process this case took.
So basically, she's saying, they're trying to decide whether it should be first degree or second degree murder, and the question that the guy was asking had nothing to do with that. He was saying, his question was, look, if the police department and the DA's office, after all their investigation and digging and finding all the information they came to the conclusion that there should be no arrest, how could it be that your office, Miss Corey, after a couple weeks of looking into it, could come to this conclusion that he needs to be arrested for murder too? How can that be? And her argument is, well, we need to, before we can even look at the degree, we have to look at the case to see if there's even a reason to charge. I mean, if it's justifiable murder or justifiable homicide, then there should be no murder charge. And that's a great point that she's saying it, but she didn't say, well, look, we studied it, we investigated it, and we came to the conclusion that it should be second degree. But we did that after we determined that there is absolutely no way that it's justifiable homicide. She never says, well, we determined that it's not justifiable homicide. She suggested that they should do the process in a certain way, but she did it in a different way. Instead of determining whether it's justified first and then going to the degree, she went to the degree first because she doesn't even tell us whether it's justified.
Only slight delay was the fact that the governor stepped in and appointed us to take this case over and handled it, and we did.
So did Sanford police conduct a full and complete, if they had conducted a full investigation, do you believe Sanford police would have arrived at the same point you did?
We worked together with our law enforcement officers here, as you see.
You can see she's totally ignoring his question. I'm going to go ahead and continue playing that, but she's ignoring his question. And now that she's trying to say, well, they took over the case in the middle of the investigation, that the police hadn't finished their investigation, which wasn't true because, remember, there were many, many days where they kept calling. Everybody was yelling in the media, there's got to be an arrest, and the police said no. In fact, the police chief was fired because he refused to arrest him. So here she is just completely ignoring the question. The question is, Miss Corey, now focus, all right? Focus. The question is, if the police say no arrest, if the DA's office says no arrest, even though the governor stepped in and said, okay, you guys want to look at it too, couldn't you have looked at it and agreed with them? Was there some reason? Can you tell us specifically, Miss Corey, what it was that you disagreed with in their investigation? What exactly did they miss that caused you to come to a completely different opinion?
And our undersheriff here, we work with all of our law enforcement agencies where we try to work these cases together. Remember, prosecutors are law enforcement as well. And we work these cases with our investigating agencies, and we try to come to as many mutual decisions as we can. This case was in that process when the governor stepped in and appointed us to take it over. We have continued to work with the Sanford Police Department. We got full cooperation and all of those significant documents and records from Mr. Wolfinger's office, and then Bernie and John and their team took this over and did a lot more work. And
Yeah, but now she just said they did a lot more work. Now we're hoping that here right now she's going to say what that work was and how it is that they came to a different conclusion than the police and the DA's office. Right? We're going to hear that right now, right? Here we go. Let's give it a listen.
came to our conclusion based on the facts and Florida's law. Yes, sir.
So, the facts and Florida law. But what facts? I mean, the police had all the facts. She should really tell us, well, there are some facts that the police didn't have that we later found out. Or, we found out and the police found out later certain facts, and those facts led us to believe. And now the police department would agree with us because we brought all these facts out that they agree with us. The DA's office agrees with. No, the DA's office still believes that George shouldn't have been charged. The police department still believes that George shouldn't have been charged. So that should be more than enough evidence and proof that Miss Corey needs to be, fired ASAP. Obviously, she's not working for the people of the state of Florida. Good talking to you guys. Talk to you later. Bye.